What's up? Welcome. We're going to do the rear suspension today. Hopefully you saw the first part of this with the front suspension, but now we're going to do the rear. The rear is going to be a lot easier to take off. We're going to take it off in one giant piece. We're just going to undo the half shafts and the axles here. We're going to take that off. We're going to take off the lower control arm. See, there's 4 bolts on the half shafts here going to the differential, so we're going to have to take those off. I can't do that because I'm in the way when I do it. Now we're just going to loosen up the top 3 bolts on top of the strut tower here, and we're going to lower it down with the jack.
Alright, I'm looking around.
And removing all of the rear suspension is just that easy. It's like 6 bolts totally. Takes about 15 minutes. Oh, well. First, remember to do the brake lines. Or you can be like me and be an idiot. You can almost tear it off. I was really surprised in this that I didn't have a single rusted bolt or anything in the rear. Everything came off with a lot of ease. All of the rubber bushings, though, were definitely destroyed. So if for some reason you wanted to refurbish this one, I would just recommend you replace all the rubber bushings. All the hardware here is going to get replaced anyway, so it doesn't matter if I lose it or what happens to it. It's all covered with undercoating anyways. You can see there's a little bit of rust down here, but we'll do the same process we did for the front suspension areas that had rust on it. Use muriatic acid and then put some light undercoating under it because we still live in a salt area. Dealing with the diff here, I'm gonna have to grab some extra set of hands here just because this was kind of awkward and I was like using my feet at one point, but just better to not have the differential fall out. Huh. You got it?
Yeah. Diff is kind of rocking around there.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as it kind of stays there, we can get something else under it. I can get the jack over here and jack it up and get a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because now it doesn't have anything to... It can go in and out.
Actually, I wonder if we took one of those big jack stands.
Oh, the big one, yeah. Just like that, we're gonna install everything here too. You see at points of this, I'm gonna have to stop it. I'm just gonna point to the holes because I can't get the camera in view of the part and also tighten stuff down with it. You can see the parking brake cables float around at times, and hindsight would have had me do the parking brake cables at this time, but I didn't have the parking brake stuff during this, so I had to do that later on when I did the brakes, the brake lines, which turned out to be a giant pain in the ass. Also, side note, make sure you jack up your differential better than I did, because I had mine pull out the drive shaft from the transmission. And once you got the differential seated, I just tighten everything down. Once you have the differential seated where you want it, make sure then you can go tighten everything down. Don't tighten down one side before you get the bolts into the other. You're never going to get that one side in. I ended up having, there's the adapter for it. It goes onto the 4 bolts there. You get some flange nuts for it. You can only put the bolts on one direction here, with the bolt head facing the outer wheels and the nuts facing the inside, or else if you try to put it on the other way, the bolt head will come in contact with the case of the differential. Alright, now here we got this whole assembly comes together as one, minus the coil over here. You just screw that in. I'm just going to do this the same way that I took it out. Going to wheel it under with a jack and then jack it up. The camber plates you see on top of there, those are actually a no-weld aluminum. Those are a no-weld piece from Silvermine Motors, in case you don't want to destroy your strut tower. It would have been so much easier with a jack that had more than 2 working wheels.
I got it.
Gotta say I helped once.
Alright, we're going to Home Depot.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Alright.
Gotta put the garage door up.
I thought you were going up that way.
Now we can. He's in her car, Matthew.
No, they're in my pocket. They're on the garbage can.
Gotta shovel it.
Yeah, the orange shell.
Put it under the chair here. Put it away.
Here's your other package.
Okay.
And now we got the axles we're going to replace it with. These are CVs from a Nissan Titan. These are going to fully replace the half shafts that were on the original one, so we don't have to use any single part of the original half shaft. Unlike the other popular way to get CVs on here, which is using the Porsche 930 axles, those require to use the end spline connected to the wheel hub, but these have their own spline on it. This is probably one of my more favorite parts of the kit they sell, because these are much stronger and also much cheaper than having to buy a Porsche 930 CV axle. If in case I somehow get 800 horsepower on this thing and snap an axle, I only have to pay about $80 for one. Now we're going to my least favorite part about this entire kit, is the way this is having to tighten these 6 nuts and bolts. Excuse me, it's too close to get a pass-through ratchet on it. You have to use a open-end wrench on both sides of it. And this just tightening these things, I think took about 30 minutes to a half an hour. So this was not an enjoyable experience, and I don't really want to ever have to take these off, but it's not the worst thing in the world. You can still get to these when the lower control arm is installed too, so it's not that difficult. Side note: when you do get these axles, you do have to drill out the holes that come with it, because they are a proprietary Nissan bolt that's supposed to go in it. It's like something weird, like an 8 3/4 millimeter thing that isn't metric, but it is metric. So anyways, these are just 3/8 bolts. So when you drill out the end, just remember to use a carbide bit, and just remember to use a carbide bit. If you don't use a carbide bit, or some sort of about one of the Home Depot drill bits per hole. This cross member for the diff mount support is the original one. Kind of sad that the kit didn't include one of these. I don't think they sell one of those, but you know, you can find another one if you want to build aluminum from one of the other aftermarket manufacturers. So for the lower control arm, I'm gonna apologize at the end here, because my camera corrupted for the last 5 minutes of this when I put the final bolt in to the hub assembly over there. So you're gonna see me not do that, or install the sway bar back into the new bushings and sway bar end link. I will include some photos at the end though. If you are curious, those mounting points for this
Yeah.
lower control arm is stainless steel. That is the only part of their kit that isn't all aluminum. Sorry about the video being a little grainy here. I didn't have the best lighting and it turned dark out. It's really hard to light the underneath of a car. Here's some of the photos of just it, or they're actually pretty good quality for it. They got some close-ups of them. I did go back and tighten everything down, so don't worry about that. Hey, if you made it this far, like the video. Remember to go watch the other videos I've done, the previous ones. The next one will be on doing the brakes for this. And then following that will be on refurbishing 3-piece wheels.